Welcome back. Thanks very much for staying with us. A wide-ranging India-China Track 2 dialogue gets underway on Thursday. Sources say the objective of the dialogue is to find common ground on a number of issues, including the Belt and Road Initiative, nuclear matters, and the Doklam standoff. Sources indicate the invitation for the dialogue came from China. It takes place just over a week after China's 19th Party Congress, which saw President Xi Jinping emerge as perhaps China's most powerful leader after Chairman Mao. It also confirmed his second five-year term. The Doklam standoff will figure in the deliberations. What are the common concerns? There are major concerns on both sides. The principal one being the fact that structures and practices laid down as part of bilateral confidence building measures did not function effectively. Sources say senior commanders in China's People's Liberation Army acted without reference to the political leadership. It was as though they were making policy on India independent of the civilian leadership. China also wants to talk about the Belt and Road Initiative. Sources say China wanted to understand India's concerns about the initiative, reflecting the widespread view that without India, the project may not be viable. All those countries in this region and in the neighborhood that have signed on to the BRI have small populations. Some are wealthy, most others are poor. That means China may end up subsidizing them. In that sense, India's 1 billion plus population have numbers and buying power on their side. India has slammed the BRI as lacking transparency and sustainability. It has also voiced concerns over the environmental of some of the schemes of the initiative. The nuclear issue will also come up for deliberation. Proliferation is also a major Indian concern, and Chinese representatives can expect to be closely questioned about the transfer of strategic technologies and missiles to Pakistan. So to say a point the Chinese have made is that three most powerful nations in Asia, Russia, China and India, the world may see virtue in keeping them apart and at odds with one another. But together they can be a major economic and political force. The Chinese may be building the case for a new strategic Asian axis. China is aware that India is building ties with the US, Japan, South Korea and Australia. It is also reinforcing ties with Russia, visible in the recently concluded India exercise. The location of the drill in Russia's Far East may have been purely coincidental, but the Chinese media sensed that Russia was also sending a signal to Beijing not to take their relationship for granted. The dialogue will last 2 days and takes place in Chengdu, where one of China's oldest South Asian centers is based. Serving and retired PLA generals will take part. Also, Dai Bingao, former special representative on the India-China border talks, who will lead the Chinese delegation. Former Foreign Secretary Shyam Saran will lead the Indian side. Let's go straight across now to WION senior editor Surya Gangadharan joining us for more on this. What do we expect as a part of the Track 2 diplomacy, Surya, post the Doklam standoff?
Well, I think it's important to understand that this is not a government-to-government dialogue. This is basically involving people from academia, former ambassadors from India, serving generals on the other side, including some serving diplomats, but equally speaking in their personal capacity. At least that is the impression I've been given. And obviously there will be a report at the end of it, which either side will submit to their respective governments and which may be taken forward. But the point being underscored that this is a Track 2 initiative. It is not incumbent upon the governments to accept this report. And obviously there are so many other inputs that each government will receive from other sources too.
The timing also, Surya, being extremely crucial, but what do you make of the invitation coming in from the Chinese side and why Track 2 diplomacy at this time?
I think you have to look at what President Xi Jinping's own concerns at this point could be. Although he has come out of the Party Congress affirmed as China's most powerful leader, there are huge challenges he faces, not just domestically, also internationally. The Belt and Road Initiative, for instance, has not received many positive views worldwide. And Xi Jinping is aware that China has an image problem in pushing this thing forward. Also, the concern is that China may end up subsidizing the projects in so many countries, it may not even be viable. So this is some feedback he's getting from within Chinese industry also. Then there's the fact that India is a major power in Asia, it can't be ignored. Doklam was a signal to China that it had gone too far, it was perhaps overreaching. Also, she is worried about the conduct of the PLA at that point, and although he is now confident that the PLA is under control, he obviously wants to understand better why this Doklam standoff happened and why the procedures built up over so much time didn't work. So these are some of the issues that will come up during the course of the dialogue.